Thank you. And thank you so much for taking the time to actually speak with me today.
Oh, no, absolutely. That's what it's all about. It's all about the fans
Yes.
and,
And
getting the word out to people, getting the message out there.
yeah, and super excited to have you here. I mean, first Jason. I mean, what can you say beyond that?
Well, I'm certainly the most first.
Yes, definitely the
I'm the
first.
firstest.
Yeah, no,
you
super
know,
excited to have you here today and
it
thank you
began
again.
with the little guy, and then just like the biggest man or woman in the world was once just a little baby.
Have to start from somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And super excited that you're going to be over at Silver Screen Con and your history that you actually have with the, genre of the horror scene.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, no, uh, you know, I can't say enough about Spencer Charnas and Ice Nine Kills. You
Yes.
know, we're recording now, right? You're
Yes, it is.
okay, good. So I don't want to, um, because I want everybody to hear this. Because yes, first Jason as a band, we got started in 2009 with our first album, Jason is Watching, which got a lot of love from both punk and metal fans. I
Mhm.
was so happy about that, but you get out there on the live scene, you realize what a challenge it is. And so anytime another band, especially one as prominent as Ice Nine Kills, reaches out to you, it's just an enormous help. It really is because, you know, uh, just accessing all of these different people. So, as Ice Nine Kills, every song they do is about a different horror franchise.
Mhm.
So, just after I had finished the Lord of the Lake album, here in Chicago, recording with Rob Ruccia, who works with Nonpoint. I don't know if you know Nonpoint, but
Familiar with
it's
them.
yeah, so they're out there doing it. So we heard from Spencer, and he said, "I'd love it if you would sing on the acoustic version of Thank God It's Friday."
Mhm.
So we were able to turn that around real quick, and then they mastered it. It sounded amazing. I was so happy with it, but I never could imagine, the response from the fans. And just, I had heard about Ice Nine Kills. Interestingly, I was doing an autograph signing, and the son of the vendor, okay, we were doing a signing, so I always like to play music, to keep it going. And I was playing some first Jason, and the son was like, "Yeah, I like that a lot. Can I play something for you? That's my favorite music. I have a CD out in the car." So he went and got the CD, and it was Ice Nine Kills. So first, I'm a big Kurt Vonnegut fan, and that
Absolutely.
so you read Kurt Vonnegut, that
Yes.
comes from Cat's Cradle,
Cradle.
and that immediately I was like, wow, that's thing, what just and then when it was revealed to me, well, all their songs about a different horror, it was American Nightmare and all of that, and it just blew my mind. I was so blown away. Um, so that's how I knew about him. But so when Spencer just reached out to me, just, hey, we love what you're doing, and we're all fans of Little Jason, of course, um, would you do this? And uh, I knew who they were, so I said, wow, I got to jump in. And we got to open for them at the first Silver Scream convention. So we opened for them. We opened for Twisted, the Juggalo band,
Oh yeah.
who opened for Ice Nine Kills. So what a thrilling experience. And then Spencer had me jump on stage when they did the full metal version of Thank God It's Friday with a machete and everything,
Oh,
and
that's
that was
incredible.
wonderful. But so subsequently, Twisted invited us to their convention called Astronomicon. And both of these cons, Silver Scream and Astronomicon, are what I think of as entertainment-based conventions, where it's focused around music and entertainment, and everybody at those conventions really sees a lot of like entertainment. Another one that does that is Spookala and
Yes.
For the Love of Horror in Manchester, England, which is done in an arena. So they have all the panels on the stage with the huge backdrop. And then the after party, there was 3,000 people there. Okay. Carolina, 3,000 people there. And the first night it was Corey Taylor. And then the night that we played, it was Tim Capello, the sexy sax man from The Lost Boys. So I think that when we have an eye to providing a full entertainment experience to anybody who walks on that floor, okay, they're going to have fun. Let's say you can only afford one autograph, two autographs. You're still going to get to see the panels. You're going to hear some music. Sure, they have a VIP, this, that, and the other thing. But then there's other stuff. Like at Spookala, they had Corey Taylor play for everybody for free at one point, just in the actual convention space. It was an acoustic set, So Ice Nine Kills played an acoustic set. Like, oh my gosh. But so now here we have the new upcoming Silver Scream 3. Oh my gosh. So they asked us to play, opening the entire thing. We'll be playing a short burner set with all our fan faves. It's gonna be quick, because then there's TX2, then there's Avatar, then there's In This Moment, and then Ice Nine Kills. So I mean, that's an amazing concert. And now Spencer has been so kind again, which is in character, to ask me to come out at the very end of thank God it's Friday. There's an orchestral section. Oh. And so they want me to just play like some guitar synthesizer accompaniment, just a little solo at the end where there's that space where there's piano and then there's strings and after really playing their music and analyzing their music, I got to admit there's some very good writers. It's hard to tell. There's so much like lightning and thunder, if you will, during their songs. But if you listen, you could literally take those songs and just play them on the piano, and the melodies and the chords are I think they went to theory class or something.
Yeah, the way that they combine the movies themselves and tie it into it, very cinematic. I mean, their music videos. And then I actually saw that Spencer joined you on one of your tracks with First Jason on Scapegoat.
Oh my gosh, thank you for bringing that up. That's right. He I couldn't believe that. Yes. So he contributed a vocal section on the chorus, which was breathtaking. And then he sent us, like, it must have been 4 a.m. And he did, after he was at a concert, because it was while he was on the road, and he sent us this green screen that he did. So video director James Callahan was able to put that in there, and it just came out beautifully. And wow, yeah, the Scapegoat, I love that song. That's a fan fave now too. And you talk about the cinematic thing. I think there's 2 levels there. Clearly, the photography, and, like, for instance, that video they did for Shower Scene, yes, which just homaged Alfred Hitchcock, which people don't do that enough, in my opinion. And but I think what really, really hits home with me, and I think with a lot of the fans, it's the poetic approach that Spencer takes with each character to kind of, if you will, get an emo take, an emo insight, if you will, to like being Jason or being Freddy or being Michael, you know, and his words are I think somehow they translate to people's individual struggles, you know, with that you know, teen angst or just everybody angst, you know, midlife crisis, you know, whatever.
Oh yeah.
You know, he's very insightful about the psyche, and to me, that's the most important. Because I always like to remind people that even the biggest and scariest monster in the world, Godzilla or King Kong, was just once just a word in a writer's head that they typed out or wrote out, and so that's what it's all about right there.
Yeah, and it's great because it actually introduces a lot of younger, the generation that aren't familiar with these movies. And then they hear the tracks and then they're introduced to, say, Friday the 13th, and then you go to American Psycho. So it's just like the way everything ties in generation by generation, it just continues on.
Oh, the video for American Psycho is unbelievable. And the way he put that song in there, it's just, oh my God. And but no, you're 100% correct, Caroline, because I'm at the table, and you know, every show now, some kids will come up with the Einstein Kills shirt, and you know, they love to talk about horror. They have all kinds of insights. They're always asking me, you know, those mystery questions about Jason Voorhees. Was Jason Voorhees real? Was Jason Voorhees little baby Jason, was he just in his mother's mind, like in Alfred Hitchcock with Psycho? Was it like the son is just imagining the mother from beyond the grave? Is that what Jason is all about? And so yeah, they've started a whole conversation that wouldn't have been there. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and it's been fantastic. And then, I mean, just with going back to Jason Voorhees, I mean, the character himself, I saw that, in the movie, there was only like the two scenes. And then for
Yeah.
his
Oh,
character
thank
to
you.
grow so much from that to where he is today. I
Well,
mean,
thank you.
that's the
Yes,
legacy.
I like to point. Well, as I said, I'm the firstest. I'm the most first.
Yes.
I'm the OG, and I like to point out that for the few moments of screen time, if you were to divide that now by the number of people that I've scared in these 44 years, I think that I deserve a Guinness Book of World Record for the most people scared in the least screen time.
Absolutely. I'll confess, I was one of them. It made me jump.
It scares everybody. In fact, the movie Friday the 13th, here's a bit of trivia. Well, the initial project wasn't Friday the 13th, it was a comedy, but Paramount Pictures passed on that. So then the first version of Friday the 13th did not have the ending sequence with the little Jason grabbing poor Alice out of the boat.
Iconic.
Not successfully. He does not succeed to kill her, but still, okay. So there was literally, I went home in August of 1979 thinking, oh, I'm just a little boy that drowns in a movie. There goes, that's it, you know? And then Sean, because Paramount gave them a third chance, not a second, but a third chance. People should know this. A third chance. They changed the sound design. The sound design is one of the most brilliant, because you really only have the soundtrack almost only when the killer is present. Then they added to Harry Manfredini's soundtrack, but most importantly, they put that ending sequence. So if you look, that was shot. He calls me up in October and says, we need you to come to the set. And I immediately said, well, what am I going to just like lie there because I'm a dead child? Like, what am I going to do? And he goes, no, you get your revenge, which gave me one impression. So when I showed up, he said, here's your script. And it says Alice's dream. So I went, it's not a dream. He comes back to get his revenge. You said I get my revenge. And famously, Tom Savini took me aside. He said, Ari, don't ruffle Sean's feathers. Not that, Sean was always very great director to deal with, and always never raised his voice, and you always knew exactly what was required out of you. So yeah, and so when Paramount saw that final sequence, which was shot in October, and if you look, you can see there's autumnal foliage there, but it's supposed to be June before summer camp opens. Anyway, they loved that sequence so much that they released Friday the 13th. They distributed it in 800 theaters across the country on the same day, which was unprecedented. Okay, that had never happened before. They didn't want that, the mom is the killer kind of thing to get out. It was because it's Betsy Palmer, and she always played nice people. So they pulled the switcheroo, and they didn't want anyone to know. So, but it had a different effect. It just got so popular because people would bring their friends in order to scare. Like, they would wait until I jump out of the water to see, if they ruin their pants, whatever. So, and Tom Savini would go to theaters and just wait for that final moment and just turn around and take pictures of people. And yes, he said he saw grown men weep.
I believe it. I completely believe
there you
that.
go. That's part of the history. I mean, one of the things that people should know too is that Sean cleverly managed to scare Adrian, because the very first take, which is sandwiched into the shot, first you see me like this, then it goes into the close-up. That was the first take. He planned it so that he didn't say action.
Oh, wow.
So he said, just look up and wait for the bubbles to clear. The cameras are rolling, Ari. Just go out there. And that's action when the bubbles clear. So she had no idea in that first take that I was going to come out of the water all gooked up like that. So I think there was, was it actual fear, or what? I think her actual fear was that I had ruined the take by jumping the gun, because she fell out of the boat.
Oh, wow.
And basically turned around and looked at me and said, he didn't say action. So
that's incredible.
Very clever. And then of course he blamed it all on me. I mean, in a funny way. This kind of shows you Sean Cunningham's sense of humor. So when we did the second take, which was more, choreographed.
Yes.
So he said, okay, Ari, this time, please don't manhandle our actress.
And I was look on her face.
Yeah, you've seen that picture, right?
Oh, yes.
Yes. That's when he's telling me, that's a BTS shot where that's what he says to me. Please don't manhandle the act. And I looked at him like, but later on, of course, he told me I did the right thing. Everybody giggled when he said that. He was just teasing me.
Yeah, no, I think the way that the whole entire piece of that scene played out was perfect, because you couldn't fake that reaction. So genuine.
It really is, and I think that people have to remember. I mean, Tom Savini, amazing special effects artist, but when you point a camera, point it at people who can act. Mm-hmm. Adrian King can act. Adrian King, who probably still hasn't forgiven me, although we get along, but I think still he thinks I'm going to jump out of somewhere. But so Adrian King, I don't know if people know this, but she's been acting her entire life. She was, in fact, a Gerber baby. She was one of the babies on the Gerber bottle. So she's been a model, an actress for her whole life. She can really act. And so that has a lot to do with, Just saying.
Been on camera for a while.
Yeah.
What I'm actually curious, what was your introduction to the horror genre itself? Like, what's the earliest memory where it actually like drew you in?
When I was a little kid, I accidentally watched The Mummy at like age 7 or something. I was just sitting on the couch and Boris Karloff was in The Mummy, and because they used to show movies on TV and stuff like that. It was so much fun, and probably edited somewhat, but I just totally captivated. I just love the ancient Egyptian thing and just his character. And I remember my parents found me watching that and they were, kind of surprised. And then at summer camp, we had this amazing film teacher there, interestingly enough, in Westport, Connecticut. Okay, I went to an inter-community camp where they brought together kids and taught us all this stuff. And so I remember arguing with them who was the best Dracula, because I love Bela Lugosi.
Oh, yes.
And my buddy said, no, Christopher Lee, Lugosi's corny. And I got upset. I think we got in a little fight, no, Lugosi. So I was always into that kind of thing. And then, of course, Jaws came out.
Oh, yes.
And so I lived on the beach in Connecticut, okay, and not on, well, a few blocks from the Long Island Sound beach, but there was a beach, and it was right opposite Long Island where Montauk was and all that, Jaws was. So yeah, well, famously, I don't know if you've heard this story, but I used to go to the beach and I would pretend that Jaws was eating me. That was our little trick. And we would put our foot up like a little dorsal fin, and then you would go and just jump under it. And one time I kind of scared my parents. So to me, that was, see, I can act, And so every time, because we lived close to the beach, which was quite often, I would pretend I was drowning, and then they'd be like, yeah, whatever, But when I got to the set of Friday the 13th, that's what I did. And here's a crazy trivia tidbit. Just when Jason goes down for the last count, you'll see my foot go right in front. And that was like the dorsal fin. Okay. Wow. So yeah. And when Sean Cunningham goes, cut, that's it. That was perfect, Ari. So I thought, oh my God, like a little kid does. I've ruined the whole movie. They're gonna see my foot. They're gonna say what? But they put it in there. So if you watch when it's the scene where Pamela is saying, he was my only son. Today is his birthday. He wasn't a very good swimmer. And there you watch for that. People.
I'm gonna have to rewatch that, because one of the scenes that actually really caught my attention was at the very, very end of the movie, where it lingers, where Jason, you still see like these little bubbles coming from the lake, and they're just.
I always wondered why. You know what?
Like 2 or 3.
People have mentioned that to me so many times, and at first I thought, oh, it's nothing. But I mean, it wasn't on purpose. It wasn't, a thing we did. I mean, I don't think they did that. I think it's just, a natural occurrence, unless maybe Tom Savini was under there with a straw. I don't know, but I kind of doubt it. I do know that they felt, if you will, and anyone who gets a chance to visit the place might agree, that Camp Crystal Lake is a character in the movie, if you will, which is kind of a thing. And September 13th, which is Friday the 13th, of course. Now that is the day that they start Silver Scream. But first, Jason and I are there Saturday and Sunday for the concert and signing autographs and being there for everybody. They'll be doing a panel there, but I'm going to be Friday the 13th at the Blairstown Diner in Blairstown, New Jersey. So I'll be at the actual Blairstown Diner on Friday the 13th with
Oh,
my
that's
band.
fantastic.
So you could walk right in, and it's the exact same diner, where Annie comes in, and they're like, going to Camp Blood, aren't you? And then later on, Steve Christie and the old lady have their little talk, and it's
Yes,
pouring rain. It's the same diner.
that's fantastic. Good to know.
Yeah. Isn't that
Um,
cool?
yeah, it really is actually, and it's great that you interact so well. Like the fans will actually be able to come out and just join and see that atmosphere and be able to get that historical piece of it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, they love it. There'll be people coming out and going to the campsite and the diner. There's a museum there. The diner is so much fun because it's accessible to anybody, really anytime. But at this time, it's not just going to be me. I'm there. There's two other actors from Friday the 13th, and I'm doing a hot sauce tasting too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Is it like
we
a
have
challenge or?
no, no. I would never be so cruel. I just, I mean, I should be, right? I am Jason. It's terrible. No, we have three hot sauces: slasher sauce, blood of the lake, and heat my warning, which is really hot. And people love them. And in fact, the company that I work with is from New Jersey. They're from nearby there, but the peppers are from Florida, just to let you know.
Actually in Florida, so it's pretty hot either way.
Oh yeah. Well, the peppers are grown and it's all bottled and everything in a town in North Florida. I can't remember the name of the town, but if I did, I wouldn't tell anyone.
It
It's a secret.
is.
But no, they're fantastic sauces. And yeah, they're just gonna have food and drink and everybody have a good time.
Yeah.
And we'll have a tasting and people can buy the sauce and I can autograph it and autograph things like photos and machetes and masks and all that good stuff.
Yeah, the interaction with your fans and everything like that, you taking the time to actually, answer questions and just be very, down to earth with everyone. It's very much appreciated.
Well, that's so kind of you to mention that, Carolina. It's I think to me, that's what it's all about. We're telling stories. If you're an artist and an entertainer, I see you have a guitar or something back there. I'm sure you can
I have
relate
a
to
few.
this. Yeah. So you know what I'm saying. When you get that audience, there it is. That's your palette. Like if you're an artist. So what's the point in singing a song just for ourselves? Um, it's all about that interaction. And beyond that, I'm just very grateful that after it's now 44 years and people still love this story, still interact with this story, still share this story. And I it's very gratifying. So I just want to be present for all of them because they deserve that.
Yep. And I think what is the calling line? Jason never dies and it never will.
That's right. It's the fans that make it so that
Yeah.
Jason never dies.
Yeah,
Really,
absolutely.
more than any other franchise, Friday the 13th has been fan driven because it changed hands every time. It changed hands. It's each time. I mean, we have so many sequels, but unlike Freddy Krueger over there, and well, Michael Myers to some extent, although there was a in between there, but it's been pretty much the same team. So each production team had to turn to the fans.
Mhm.
What do the fans want? One year they did an imposter Jason, and one time they went into outer space, and so they tried but each time the fan said no, we just want Jason.
Mhm.
You know, in fact, even at the end of the movie where I jump out and it's like it distracted everybody from realizing the movie's actually about mom and the counselors.
Yeah, you completely sold that whole moment just took over.
They just want that slimy child.
Yeah, but with the mom character, Betsy, I saw a few different videos and it seems like you guys were really close. You have a good admiration for her. What was it like meeting her for the first time?
Oh, Betsy Palmer was so awesome. And I will tell you that the first time we met was a very special experience. It was at the Meadowlands. Tony Timpone from Fangoria magazine had invited me. Uh, and wow, it was absolutely packed. There were thousands of people there. It was my first ever convention appearance. And there I met Kane Hodder. I saw Tom Savini, you know, and then they said, okay, Ari, just go in there, go in that room there and wait, because we're getting the line ready of everybody. And so directly across from me was Betsy Palmer. And of course, I knew who she was, but she didn't know who I was. But this will tell you a lot about Betsy, okay? In that I just walked up to her and put my arms out and said,
Oh,
Mama. And she just gave me the sweetest hug. She just took me in her arms and gave me the sweetest hug. Then she put her hands on my shoulders and looked me in the eyes and said, now, who the fuck are you? And when I told her, and so we became really good friends. And she always supported me. And, for a while, she almost refused to accept that the other, she said, Ari's the only Jason. I had to convince her, yes, Kane Hodder did play Jason, Mom, and, but she, was really one of the nicest people you'd ever want to meet. We were both being vegetarians, so we would go off and eat like some Italian food and share a bottle of wine, and she would tell me stories. She lived with James Dean for 2 months. They lived together in New York City and shared an apartment together. And she, in fact, told him, don't go to Hollywood, stay here. And, the next thing he got in a motorcycle accident. So he should have listened to Betsy. Anyway,
yeah.
And there's another thing she said to me was, she said, fuck Hollywood. I like to do dinner theater, which really informed my own independent nature. She said, I get applause. They bring me flowers. It's a dinner theater. We eat dinner together. It's just fun, the camaraderie of being an actor. And she was memorizing full scripts well into her 80s. She would do love letters. She would do, mind you, she did big Broadway plays. I've signed playbills of hers from big Broadway plays. She was in a movie with Henry Fonda and Jack Lemmon, and she was just an amazing, amazing person. So at the event, she was the best with the fans too. I literally, at that Meadowlands event, this big guy in a leather jacket, and he had a scar going from his ear to his nasty scar,
Oh, wow.
and he comes up to, tough looking guy, and so she immediately reaches out and she caresses his scar. She says, what a beautiful, well, no, pardon me. She says, what a beautiful scar. May I touch it?
Oh, wow.
And the guy just melts. And I think in about 5 minutes later, he was crying. Oh, I love Mama Voorhees. But she was incredible. She would have parties in her hotel room, and I would bring her flowers and all kinds of treats. And she would always say to me, Ari, pass the joint. It's not a microphone.
She sounds amazing.
Oh yes, she was a great cook, and she could roll joints, and she uh shared the same birth date as my mom, November 1st. So who
My
knows?
mom as well.
We yeah, we just really related, and I don't know. I like to think that I still have a connection with her. You know, like when things get tough out there, and we're on the road, and we got to drive 10 hours to make it. I just remember her saying, "I'm not afraid," and I keep going.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that story. Um, Question, with the new way that the movies are like kind of playing out, like I know that you actually just wrapped up one which was Clown Motel.
Oh my gosh, Clown Motel 3. Yes, yes. Well,
So,
go on.
oh,
Yes.
with that one, I was
What
gonna
was
say
your
like
question?
my question
Sorry.
was actually with movies and stuff like that, is there any particular horror movie that you would love to play a cameo in? And if you did, what kind of cameo would it be?
Oh my gosh. Well, I would love to. My favorite of the slasher movies is the Hellraiser series.
Oh,
Yeah, because I love the psychological depth. I love the sets. I love the costumes, just the special effects, the concept. Doug Bradley,
yeah.
who once said, I said, I love Hellraiser. And he said, well, Ari, I love you, but in your film, the cadaver just comes out and then it's gone. And in Hellraiser, the cadaver comes out of the floorboards and asks you for a cigarette and then wants to have dinner with you. And so I love that. What I could I think if there what are roles I could play, I could do like Vlad the Impaler pretty good, I think. And I love playing those kind of characters. Um yes, but in terms of doing a cameo, um I love that, but I think I even love more when I'm given a little something like in Clown Motel 3, um, to put a good spin on everything. They responded when I said, okay, I want my character to have a certain, um, kind of eloquency and a certain depth. So they created this whole thing, and with the dialogue, wherein he's the king, he's the clown king, but he's being deposed, which is wonderful. So it's like a King Lear kind of thing, and it gave me a lot of depth and a lot to work with, but I sit on the throne kind of thing, and um, then I said I was very inspired. I don't want to give away too much. I
Oh
was
no.
inspired by a scene from Gangs of New York,
Oh,
where
great.
Daniel Day-Lewis throws knives. Okay, because I thought that would be kind of clown, circusy. So instead, they came up with a great idea, a different idea. I won't say what the idea is, but then they there's this final scene where so I'm doing this thing and it's connected to the five elements, air, water, fire, earth, and spirit. And I thought, wow, they really brought something very cool to the script in that way. And I sure hope it. So now the shoot was in the Nevada desert, and it was in August, so it was so hot. Um, Mercifully, I was wearing basically like what I'm wearing now. But the other clowns had like full clown masks and full hats and full everything and boots and everything, and it was so hot, and I really felt for them. But everybody stayed hydrated, and we when I was on the set, they were able to get all of my scenes done, and which is great. And you know, um, there you go. So I've been inspired myself, in fact, to pursue the concept of doing a film myself. and I haven't even told anybody about this, but it's here you go. So I can't let on too much, but it's partially going to be a loving parody of the independent horror filmmaking scene. Because as you can imagine, as an actor, I've been put through everything. I've been in the lake and shot out of things and jumped off a cliff and forget it. Just everything in the desert, in a cave, everything. So I thought that was very comical. And so anyway, I'm there's a lot more to it, but
yeah, definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, I just feel that well, two things. One is that horror gets a bad rap. Horror is given this condescending sort of attitude in general, okay? And if I do anything in my life, I want to disprove that, because if you look at great literature, which I've taken the time to read, and I hope that others have as well, you will find that it's just dripping with horror. The most famous pieces are absolutely dripping with horror. Whether you look at Greek mythology, you look at the Bible, you look at opera. I mean, my favorite example is Shakespeare. Like, what is Hamlet? Hamlet's father comes up from the grave and tells him, I want you to avenge my murder by my brother who's now sleeping with your mom. Okay? And he says, and he's a ghost. And he's like, I'm going to haunt you until you kill that guy. And then there's a whole other level where Hamlet starts wondering, again, is it real? Is he crazy? Is that real? Again, it's that wonderful. So there's that other horrific level of madness. And, don't get me started. There's so much great literature that relies on horror as a device to get people's attention and take them to the place and say the message they want to say. So that's the one level. And the other level is just the wild and crazy experiences that I've had. Like, oh my God, if I was to tell you, like, for instance, one time I was doing an independent horror film and it was being shot at a funeral parlor. Okay, now wait for it. They said, okay, we want the actors to wait in this room. And in that room was an open casket with an old lady in it. And all of us, like three actors started crossing themselves, and they're like, yeah, you guys got to wait in there for like 3 hours. You're waiting for your scene and you're reading your lines, and there's this old lady right there.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so there you go.
Wow, the behind the scenes, it's almost like a memoir.
Yeah. So it's important to be the chroniclers of our time. That's what Hamlet says. He says, treat the players well, for they are the abstract of our time. And I've definitely seen some very, very fun and funny things. And again, no, I want to say that I'm portraying them lovingly because I love them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like you said, it gets such a bad rep just because of like the genre of it. But if anything, some of the people that I've met have been the nicest, most humble, sweetest individuals that I've ever actually interacted with.
Yes, so absolutely. Oh, that's absolutely for sure. I mean, just look. I mean, come on, the poetry, Edgar Allan Poe,
oh yeah,
Stephen King. But then you bring it to the modern era, and they've got they help to mainstream it. Like, okay, American Horror Story, Stranger Things. Wow, that's amazing. And then if you want to, we can't talk about this genre right now and leave out David Howard Thornton and Damien Leone and the Terrifier series,
yes,
which
absolutely
just flabbergasting every time I see their new ideas, and then you think how
you don't know anything.
and wow, the next one with Santa Claus. Did you see the trailer?
I believe I did.
Okay, it
Not
is
all the way through.
well, there you go. It takes a certain, yeah, not everybody. I mean, I don't know. Wow, that's amazing. I can't wait to see where they take it, quite honestly. But I hope everybody takes it the right way. There was those great movies like I don't know if you've seen like Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Black Christmas. Silent Night, Deadly Night is particularly good, and I think that some of those, I think they must love that movie a lot, you know.
Oh yeah.
And there are those films. There's one I'd like to talk about that is more to my sort of taste, if you will, which is that internal psychological horror. And there's a great Anthony Hopkins film with Burgess Meredith and um, who's the actress? Anne Margaret. And it was made in 1978. And in my opinion, it foreshadows both Chucky and Friday the 13th because it's about a magician who has a puppet and it's called Magic, which might be the problem because the title just doesn't do the film credit because this is like Anthony Hopkins' tour de force, if you ask me. It's obviously before Silence of the Lambs, and he plays this magician. And so there's that thing again. Is the puppet alive or is it just in his head? And by the end of the movie, it is so he does this one scene and you think it's two people. You have to realize it's just him in a room. And there's so that's foreshadowing Chucky because it's a puppet. Mm-hmm. Then there's a great scene because they go to his friend's house. So he decides he's losing his mind. He needs to go somewhere. So he goes to his friend's lake house. But the shots of the lake house, of the lake, and they get in a boat and they go on the lake. And at one point he's going to kill the guy. And oh my gosh, it's very Friday the 13th. So I just suggest people go and check out Magic. I think it's streaming, you know. It was our guitar player who likes to show me all these horror movies. In First Jason, Eddie Machete, our guitar player. So he's got his laptop when he's like, Ari, check this out, wherever we go. You know, sometimes we can plug it into the motel, you know, screen and watch that. And so, yeah, we were watching that one.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, definitely we'll have to check that one out. And Anthony Hopkins, I mean, incredible actor.
Oh my gosh. And this is really, if you love him, you got to see this one because it's like, he takes a lot of risks and his character, it's mind blowing. And I usually don't like puppet movies at all. But this one, it's like, it's not cornball at all. It's just, yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I mean, definitely would love to know what you think Jason's legacy is going to be. Like,
wow.
What do you see or foresee or hope that Jason's forever legacy will be for the fans?
Well, the legacy of the character is this wonderful anti-hero, which is embraced. He's different than Michael, you know, because he has that moral anchor of his mom, you know. So it's like everything Jason does, he does for his mom, you know. Blood is thicker than water. So I think that the fans have embraced that, and you know, every episode they build on that, and that they've accepted that. So, but where is, you know, what does the future hold for Jason Voorhees? You know, I often joke, he needs to come into the modern era. You know what I'm saying? And but you know, how could he use a cell phone? Could he text people? I don't know. Maybe he's up there in the woods trying to text people. The reception is bad. No, I'm kidding. I've had, okay, in all seriousness, I've had some ideas like, okay, perhaps it's like Jason versus an army of robot Jasons or some kind of an AI thing, you know, who knows?
There's so many
I'll,
avenues that you could take.
well, I had a crazy idea. Like, what if they did like a Westworld concept where it's like Crystal Lake has been forgotten, and but they're building like these, you know, live immersion amusement parks nearby, and he just wanders into one. So he's like in the old West on a horse, and he's got to, you know, kill those guys. Then he wanders into like future world, and he's got a laser beam. And then he's like he's got a samurai. He's got these in Japan. And then finally he goes into a world where it's like he has to kill Freddy and Michael and Leatherface.
Oh, what an epic battle.
Yeah, just an idea. I can tell you one thing I know for sure is they're not going to ask me for these ideas. But I did talk to Sean Cunningham himself because we did a convention in Germany about 6 months ago. And he assured me that there is a new Friday the 13th feature film being planned. Aside from the TV series, now, you know, they reassigned a new director to that for the TV series. So I'm hopeful that that will just be more a celebration of wonderful Jason kills, if you will. I don't think it should get too deep. I maybe speaking to your actual question, in other words, people have suggested that there should be a prequel telling us the story of
young Jason,
you know, and now honestly, if anybody would want that, right, the most, it would be me. But I don't think that that is needed. Like, we could just talk it like someone could, it could be a flashback. It doesn't have to be a movie, okay, in my opinion. Because why? Because at this stage of the game, what we love about Jason is his brutality. He has shows no mercy. He's just a territorial beast, you know, and that's what gives people that visceral rush. He's almost like Jaws in the woods, you know. So if you're there, you're just his dinner, you know. And I don't know, there's a lot of fun in that. Can we Michael Myers has Dr. Loomis, played by that wonderful British actor. Yes, but his name. How can I forget his name? He's like the greatest actor in all of slashers. Someone out there is laughing at me right now, but that guy. So, but you can't put Jason on a psychiatrist's couch. He would just hit the psychiatrist with the couch. You know? That's it.
Short session.
Yeah, that'll be it. Oh, so there you go. That's what I think. We've got to maintain. It's just like any character. Jaws is Jaws. It's not like he becomes a vegetarian like in that Disney movie, or like you know, Frankenstein just, I don't know, he just changes. He doesn't like electricity anymore. I don't know, something. Dracula says blood. Oh, forget about it. No. We've got to maintain those characters. And you know, what is it that defines Jason? They've got to redefine, if you will, that moral compass, that ethical individual that he really is. He has ethics, you know, which is like, Michael does not have ethics.
No.
Okay, he kills a fireman, he kills everybody, he doesn't care. Jason has twisted ethics, demented ethics. He has wrong ethics. He's righteous vengeance gone horribly awry. And this is a lesson we need to learn. You know, how far can you take it? You know, well, Jason just takes, you know, that's it. There's no, you can't reason with them. I think we gotta see, because if we did like a frankly, this is why I did not like the ending of part 4. Because again, it's like they show him a picture, Corey Feldman shaves his hair off. What? It was like, were they so desperate to bring this image back? They keep trying. They have a mom in a lake. They have another Jason come out of the lake. Not as effective. They have Corey Feldman do that. Not as effective, because it just doesn't work as well. I love everybody who made those movies. I know they put a lot of effort into it and they deserve all the credit. Still not as effective. I just, why are we trying to describe how to analyze him? And then, come on, his head slides down a machete. No, I hated that. I'm sure I'll get a lot of response for that, but that's my, there's no way. He just would not be afraid of that. I'm sorry, you know. Also in part 2, where they do the thing with the locket or whatever, and they do like, or no, pardon me, the locket is with Derek in that one. They do in part 2, she kind of imitates his mother, Amy, you know, and that tricks him again. Okay, I guess. I don't know. I think if you're going to kill Jason, you have to kill him with a physical way of killing him.
Oh, yeah.
You know, although I will add, not to go on too long, but about part 7, okay, with Psychic Tina. See, I liked that, because not that it matters what I like, but I'm just saying, personally, I liked that. Maybe some people will agree with me, because it was a foil, as we say. He was brutal and physical, and she and male, and she's female and psychic power, mystical power, right? So she's throwing kitchen implements at him with her mind. She blows his mask off. She sets the thing on fire, and he just looks at her. Ugh. It's great. I like that.
Oh, yeah, that's fantastic.
Like, what can he do? If he can't get to her, what can he do? He doesn't have those other kinds of powers, and I love that. That's how you should show his limitations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's funny, as you were pointing at the image behind you for First Jason, I have to ask, how long did it take to put all of that on?
Oh, thank you. That we got to credit to Tom Savini and his assistant, Tasso Stavrakis. And they were so much fun to be around as a kid. It was like the Cheech and Chong of horror. They had these crazy mustaches, and they were always joking and having a good time, and very, very, you know, up early, get work done, have fun, and then we'd all jump into the lake, you know, just enjoying ourselves. It was about, now it took about 4 months. First, they cast your head in, like, you know, alginate, and then they fill that in and create another thing. Then they cast the mask. Then they try the mask on you. Then there's a glass eye and there's false teeth. So the application process on the set would be about 4 hours. And we would, so if they would have 7 o'clock start, we would have to be on the set at like 3 a.m. So I remember vividly the first time for the drowning sequence, when they completed the mask. And for the first time, although we didn't end up using the footage from that day, I have to say, because they wanted to increase his repulsiveness. But so they said to me, okay, and it was really early in the morning, it's out in the woods, it's very quiet. They said, we're going to turn the chair around. They had a barber chair, and I had not seen the makeup completed. And so it said, we're going to leave the studio and we're going to turn the chair around, and just count to 10 and open your eyes. So it was very quiet. And I opened my eyes and I thought, who the F is that in the studio with me? I literally looked around like I thought somebody else was there. And then it dawned on me, oh no, that's me. And that's when I said, oh man, how could they do that to him? You know, the poor kid, he's like a poor kid. Man, that makes me so angry. You see, so they knew. They knew exactly what would happen. And you know, it's all about getting that you know, what is your motivation? What is the character's motivation? What is that character seeking for in that scene? And they help me access that just immediately.
Wow. That's crazy.
It is amazing. And it's like to work without words is it has a certain purity. It has a certain abstraction. You know, it's all about our body motions. Like for instance, we'll never forget Kane Hodder at Times Square, the way he breathes. Just him breathing there. It's so memorable. Or Mama Voorhees, when Alice throws this stuff at her and she just shrugged it off. I love that. So I guess I love as much. I mean, I'm absolutely addicted to words, but I think that an actor can convey so much, you know, with their body and with their expression. And some people are just fantastically adept at that. And like for instance, I don't know, like Andy Serkis, the guy who played, you know, Gollum and all the Planet of the Apes, and like, you know, he barely needs words for anything. So it's incredible.
Yeah, his character definitely does the silent, and it's just it emanates from him.
Yeah, exactly. And since film is a visual medium in the beginning and the end, we have to remember that when you're on the set, you could feel all this stuff and you could say all this stuff and you could do all this stuff, but it doesn't matter unless you did it into the camera lens. Victor Miller used to say to me, he said, Ari, you know, I like what you do. I wish you would do more of it into the camera lens.
That's fantastic. That's the history of it is just incredible. So thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and
insightful questions.
Oh, thank you. And super excited. I'll actually be up there for the Silver Scream Con next week. So
cool.
I'm looking forward to seeing you guys.
I'm super stoked. You're going to be at the concert, right?
Absolutely. I will be there.
Awesome.
Very cool. Definitely be there. As soon as I saw the notification that you guys were opening, I was like, yes.
Wow, thank you.
Well,
that was a dream come true because, you know, of course, we're going to be in Blairstown on the 13th. So they were so kind as to make sure that we were there at the concert on the 14th. And that was Spencer. He goes to bat for so many people. And I have no idea how he maintains the type of positive interaction that he does. It's like there must be 16 of him. Because I'll see
on the go all the time.
Yeah. And I'll see him. He's like, oh, he just replied to my text. And then, oh, there's a post. And he's standing there and there's like 10,000 people. So what did he just go, hey, Ari, what? Okay. And then he goes, I don't know. That's the image I have of him. Because, you know, he will get back to you very quickly. You know, you say, hey man, what's up? This. Now I'm not like Spencer like every day. But if something's important And then he's like, dude, boom, boom, boom. So,
Definitely the passion for it.
and also that I think in times past, it was considered cool to be aloof and not interact with the fans. You know, that was I don't know, that was for someone else to do.
Yep.
But turning the page into this time period with social media and everything else, the protocol, the way that we need to interact with each other with kindness and with intelligence and with acceptance is actually part of modern celebrity, whatever you call it, being one of those people. So yeah, he's defined that. And I think that yeah. And moreover, as far as the music scene goes, Ice Nine Kills has set the bar so high with, you know, their musical performance, their stage show. I've been backstage and I see the choreography. I see how it's all just the thing you would compare it to most would be a fantastic Broadway production. They really have taken that to heart, and he even calls it off Broadway. So, you know, what a wordsmith! What a wordsmith he is. He always comes up with those cool phrases, and you know, you can't say enough. So I just I want everybody to come out and have a good time. And you know, if you come to my table and you mention Shadow Raven, right? Shadow Raven. Well then, you know, I'll give you a free sticker or something. Okay. So make sure you come to my table and say hi. Okay.
Well, thank you so much. And I appreciate your time and all the stories. They have been phenomenal. I know we could probably talk all day long about them, if not longer. But is there a way for your fans to continue to connect with you? What's the best way through social
Oh
media, as we're
yeah.
talking about?
Instagram, it's first Jason 13. First Jason official on Facebook. And then, you know, just firstjason.com. We've got a calendar up there. And, you know, we'd love to hear from you and tell us all about the first time you saw Friday the 13th. Okay. And thank you so much, Caroline. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much, Ari. I really appreciate it. And I mean, definitely with First Jason and taking the time, and can't wait to see you guys next week.
I want everyone to remember Jason never dies.
That's awesome.